Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to be talking about pretty much everything from food prices to inflation, UWA strike, 2A abortion, stuff like that. Obviously, it's interesting too because it seems like Second Amendment stuff and abortion stuff tend to go hand in hand a lot of times, especially when it comes to anti-gunners also being anti-lifers, etc. There, one of the things I do want to talk about first in this episode, though, is an article that I came upon. Tim Pool was talking about this earlier today, actually, and it was basically the dating scene. This actually goes back to something that happened a year ago or so with myself and Guns and Barbecue and all those guys like that, who we had that falling out over the whole thing I talked about, which and that's the whole thing. Like, if we look back at that time period in history, the entire thing I was talking about was a Bearing Arms article actually talking about people and dating and stuff like that. And they were talking about how it wasn't guns, it was actually politics of what led to a lot of these leftist chicks and stuff like that wouldn't want to date dudes that were politically right or like anything like, right of center is what it wasn't or whatever the case be. And the thing is, when you look at a lot of those people, those particular females and stuff like that, especially like the teaching industry and stuff like that, a lot of these chicks, if they are not active child molesters, fucking students, whatever the case be there, they are legitimately the ones putting up the progressive pride flags, one putting up BLM flags, etc. in the classrooms and enabling pedophilia in these classrooms by pushing all these books and stuff like that they're trying to quote unquote ban now is what it is, which, I mean, seriously, when you look at this shit, I mean, hell, all you do is go watch that John Kennedy Senate hearing the other day where he literally read that shit out loud. And it's anything from, hardcore anal sex they're describing in these books to anything else for that matter. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous what it is. So, anyway, put the headphones on because we are joined by Corey from Texas. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Nothing. I was just talking about the book bans and everything else like that and teachers and whatnot. And I was going to read this article about dating. So,
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. This is kind of similar to the article I read last year is what it was, too, it seems like. But yeah, as I said here, it was MAGA is the leading red flag for 18 to 34-year-old women, while men are turned off by women with political opinions. A new survey on dating trends, specifically with communism, stuff like that, said men are turned on by girls who drink cow's milk instead of dairy milk alternatives, so like soy products and whatnot. Says, meanwhile, women said people who listen to Joe Rogan and believe there are only two genders are a turnoff for them. That seems pretty insane.
Mm-hmm.
Says, easy to win over most women. Just don't be a mega backer and see the Barbie movie. Said, fascinating survey has revealed that most common turn-ons and turn-offs among 18 to 34-year-old men and women in the U.S. Said, change research asked 1,033 Americans, so this is a very small percentage, and maybe a couple percent at most, I'm guessing, honestly, even if that much. Certain behaviors, if they're green, benign, or red flags in a partner, both genders are on the same page on some qualities, such as the importance of having hobbies or being bothered enough to ask for details. Said, for 76% of women, backing Make America Great Again movement ideology, a moniker coined by President Donald Trump, was a turnoff for men at 64%. The biggest turnoff was identify. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, it was a turnoff for women. For men at 64%, the biggest turnoff was identifying as a communist. So 76% of women said MAGA, 64% of guys said if you're a commie. Let's see, it said majority of men interviewed, 59% said, also citing pro-Trump beliefs as a turnoff when looking for a partner. So interesting. It does make me wonder, though, when it comes to that, though, if it has to do a lot with them being major city versus rural area people surveyed for this.
Right. I wonder how many people were surveyed.
They said it was 1,033.
No, that's still not a very large population.
Yeah, it's a small percentage for sure of 18 to 34-year-olds at that point.
Yeah, they low skew in the numbers, so they do small batches.
Well, and even at that number, it does make you wonder when you're talking about an age range of 18 to 34. Okay, how many 18-year-olds were in that 1,000 something ish? How many 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, all the way up to
Right.
34? Because for all we know, it could be like one or two people that are 34 years old, 4 or 5 that are 33, and then going down, making it a little bit bigger every time is what it is. Then to like to 18, it's like 500 kids or something like that.
Right.
Anyway,
But they do that on purpose, though, to skew the
yeah.
results.
Yeah, exactly, and it's the same thing here. They've done that multiple surveys here for Ohio when they're saying, "Oh, we're a pro-choice state." When you're talking about 450 something people to 500 something people that were surveyed for that, or the ones recently where they did anti-2A stuff, and it was literally 486 people that were surveyed for it. They're claiming the majority supported gun control, and it's like, no, you don't. You have like 300 people that support gun control here.
Right.
So anyway,
They do
so
that because they're terrified of what the actual result be if they polled everybody in the state.
Oh yeah. Anyway, it says it was a similar left-wing story with gender ideology. 45% of women said people who believe there are only two genders for them was a huge turnoff. A sizable minority of men, 34%, felt the same way. Said also controversial among women was Joe Rogan podcast, with 55% saying they wouldn't be interested in a man who listens to that hugely popular series. Just over a third of men interviewed felt the same way. Said although Rogan's audience is primarily males, said overall there was stark differences in how men and women view stances on astrology, Black Lives Matter, and owning a gun as attractive qualities. And of course, they showing the MAGA chicks there. Honestly, if I was any of these chicks, it would be the one right here on the far left with the huge ass glasses. She looks pretty hot. And then the girl in the middle, too, kind of reminds me of a chick I actually met a few years ago in the 2A movement. So, anyway. Let's see here. So we got red flags as a partner. Says, do you consider each of the following behaviors or traits a green, benign, or red flag in a partner? Said they are mega Republicans, 76% of women, 59% of men. They have no hobbies, was a high number. They say all lives matter. 60% of women say it's a red flag, 41% of men. Let's see here. Identify as communist. 55% of women, 64% of men. So forth and so on. Here they go. Owning a gun. 27% of women say it's a turnoff. 13% of guys. So literally half.
Jesus. That's
like, dude, okay. I feel like these are the same exact people, by the way, that are like that one chick that was on that whatever podcast a few months ago, or like a month and a half ago, whatever it was, where she was talking about her potential future husband going up against 5 unarmed guys and wanting him to be unarmed versus these guys, these like 5 dudes, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't think they were gonna kill him." It's like, yeah, they're gonna kill him and then rape you. Like, what the fuck?
I also find
that's their end game.
I also find it kind of stupid. All these people that are anti-gun and like, oh my god, we got to get rid of all the guns, but yet when something happens to them, they always call people with guns.
Of course, yeah.
So they're fucking hypocrites.
Oh yeah,
in
it's
my
completely
opinion.
hypocritical for that point.
They want to call people with guns to handle their problems and everything, but yet they're too fucking chicken shit to actually go through the process and have a gun themselves.
Mm-hmm. The thing I thought was very interesting this week was over the whole New Mexico governor gun ban thing there. Where you had both Congressman Ted Lieu and David Hogg do almost a word for word copy and paste statement of each other's post there on Twitter.
Yeah, I also saw that she came out. What was it? Yesterday or today, and amended the.
Yeah, it was sometime today. She amended it to now say, "Oh, you can't carry in public parks or on playgrounds," and it's like, why is she still walking free, sheriffs of New Mexico? That's a serious question right now. Like, why is this bitch not in jail right now for multiple felonies, including crimes against humanity, but also misdemeanors like deprivation of criminal law is what it is. It's just insane. It really is.
It is. She should be fucking arrested for this because it's oath breaking.
Yep.
Not to mention, in her own words, assuming extra powers that she doesn't have to do whatever she wants to do. I mean, it's just the
Hmm.
balls on this bitch is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Going back to that article from a little bit ago here, there were some interesting things in the bottom part of this that was talking about the turn-ons of people. It said both men and women say that reading was a turn-on. 95% of women and 91% of men agreed. So both genders also agreed that researching for the best details and rates before buying something is a turn on. 88% of women, 85% of men. Other popular green flags for women including saying Black Lives Matter, 60%, identifying as a liberal, 39%. Unsurprisingly, looking better in person than on dating app photos was also a big turn on and appealed to 50% of women. So men are commonly turned on by women who prefer cow's milk over any non-dairy product at 42%. So men were also turned on by women who identify as conservative, 35%, and women who identify as a liberal at 29%. Says both genders agree reading is hot. They disagree on whether listening to Joe Rogan is not. Only 7% of women say that men who listen to Rogan appeal to them, but 25% of men say that women who listen to a controversial podcaster was appealing to them. So,
Mm. Have you ever
interesting.
seen those videos of these retarded fucking vegans and shit? Where like that one is like, I don't drink cow's milk, but I like strawberry milk because it's not real milk because it doesn't come from a cow.
Probably. I
That
think
or
one of the best ones I saw here that was an oldie but a goodie from the other day was this chick talking about her dog being a vegan and had like this salad for him and then had a bunch of meat.
yes,
She's like, ew, gross. And then immediately
yeah,
the dog just like at the fucking meat.
yeah.
And
There's
she's like,
another
no,
one
no.
where this chick said she's a vegan, but she gets her proteins uh, from eggs because the thing is, if you feed them organic, the key is organic. So if they're eating organically, that makes the eggs organic. So and then I eat the chicken because it's organic because it only ate organic. You know, I'm like, are you fucking retarded? You're
There
still
is
eating meat. How
like
can you?
some variation of like veganism. It's not like straight veganism, but it's something else. It's like uh, I forget something like a P, like poly something or other, terrorism or something. And basically, what it is you can eat like certain kinds of meat or fish or whatever the case be, but still like sort of claim the vegan status is what it is, which is just stupid as fuck, honestly.
Yeah, how do
It's
you?
like you
How
either
can you
are or you
call
aren't.
yourself a vegan if you're eating any kind of meat products or anything that comes from animals?
Well, the whole point is, human beings are never supposed to. We're supposed to be omnivores anyway.
Oh, exactly.
It's like a lot of they're like it's just like a lot of other animals for God's sakes. I mean, hell, there are photos in nature of a deer eating a dead rattlesnake and stuff like that, or dead rabbits or something. Like they'll actually eat meat if they have to, and it's something to do with like keratin or something they need in their systems is what it is there.
That's why I've heard many cases where true vegans end up dying because they
Yeah,
just waste away.
yeah, they do. Dude, there's a guy I met when I was playing Magic the Gathering named Craig Wesco, and I shit you not, I've met this guy twice when I was living in Columbus. I interviewed him for one of the old streams I did on this channel, is what it was, and I just looked at this dude a couple times at these different events that he was at, and I'm like, how are you not dead? Because it looked like he was about to like fall over like every single time he started walking
hmm
because he was like so deficient of like various vitamins and nutrients he needed from protein that he wasn't getting. And it just blew me away, honestly. Actually, it was funny. The one of the nights I was almost beaten to death in Columbus. Um, he, it was him, his ex girlfriend, and a couple other people, and myself that all went out to eat that night. And we had gone to this random place, and he wanted to order a pizza, but he didn't have like vegan options or whatever. So he's like telling this waitress, she's like, "Yeah, I want this pizza, but I don't want any cheese on it or any kind of meat on it." So she's like, "You just want basically sauce on bread?" And he's like, "Yeah, pretty much." And just throw some veggies on there if you can.
Jeez.
Like it was so retarded. And then he was
Yeah.
asking about the bread. He's like, that bread's not like gluten, is it, or whatever? And she's like, I think it probably is. So I don't know what he ended up getting. That'd be the case, but it's just like, Christ's sakes, dude. It was so bad. But yeah, he was a trip. But anyway,
You're saying was as in past tense, so did he?
no, he's still alive. I just meant when I knew him because we drifted apart at this point, obviously, for like
Oh, okay.
acquaintances and stuff like that. Yeah, no,
Just
he's
with
still,
your
as far as I'm aware, he's still alive. I'm pretty sure he is anyway. I don't know. I don't think I've never heard anything about his death in newspapers or anything like that. So I'm
just
pretty
from
sure
the
he's still on the scene
conversation, how it led into your story is
Yeah.
why I asked.
No. As far as I'm aware, he's still with us. It's just we've drifted apart over the years, is what it was. Because we barely knew each other, is what it was. We were definitely acquaintances for sure, and it was never really like a friendship. It was just,
Right.
oh, we both play the game. Like he was considered a pro player at the time, and I was just some dude that was like, "Can I get an interview, dude?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So
Yeah,
anyway.
we humans, we have to have a healthy balance of everything. There's just one chick I saw a video of where she said all she does is eat meat all day long. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's nothing but meat. That's all she eats. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you're not going to last long doing that because eventually you will get protein poisoning.
Yeah. Which actually leads me into one of the story topics I want to talk about today, which is food prices and inflation. So I went to the meat market earlier today, and we got, I'm thinking maybe 10 to 12 main courses for future stuff. Over $100 for the meat that we got that today.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's like one thing I like to buy is a thing of chicken breast. And before all this bullshit, I could get anywhere from 5 to 6 chicken breast in the packaging. And it was usually, I don't know, it could range anywhere from $6 to $8 for the whole thing. The last time I went and got the same thing, the motherfucker was like $15. I'm like, are you fucking smoking crack?
Because I was actually at shout out to Pull of Meats. Went there. I was actually about to buy a new hat today, by the way, from them, because they have a new hat where it's got, instead of the cow, it's a hatchet coming down. Looked pretty cool. I just didn't have the cash on me, but yeah, Poland was interesting. They had it was a big old bag of quote unquote bone marrow bones. It's like $17, and I'm like, how can you justify that for a fucking bone?
I know, right? Because the only thing you can do with it is, you can smoke it, whatever, and all you're doing is eating the marrow, which isn't much.
Well, the thing is, Mom used to buy stuff like that from these places to do the base for soup, because there were soup bones.
Right, yeah.
And then all of a sudden now it's people have done like the bone marrow thing, it's caught on. They're like, oh, we can jack the prices of these up like crazy.
I know.
And there was another thing. There was a little pack like this of, I think it was like a pound of oxtail. It was like $14.50 or something like that. And I'm like, how the fuck is that expensive?
Yeah, no, it's bullshit, dude. It's fucking everything, dude. No matter what you can think of, everything's hyperinflated now.
Yeah. Well, one of the chicken breasts we got, because they were all individually wrapped and stuff, was probably like yay big. So it was pretty big chicken breast. In fact, probably could be cut in two, and each person could have a meal out of it or whatever. But that was almost $6. And I'm like, damn, dude. Like, that should be like $4 right there at most.
My thing is, what I think is going on, the reason everything is getting so expensive, and it's going to keep going too, it's going to get even worse than what it is now, is they're trying to price us out of buying the good shit.
Oh, yeah.
So they can force us to basically be Snowpiercer, basically, the movie Snowpiercer, and eating blocks of fucking ground up crickets and whatever fucking bug.
Various bugs, yeah. Well, and I'm to the point of like, I'm just looking around at these places and I'm like, y'all hiring? Because like, you might as well just take half the check and just give me meat in response to it or something, dude. Because that's the way I feel about it anymore, honestly. But I don't even know anymore. It's so crazy. And I'm just like, how do you justify that shit? So, but yeah, we got a couple different, a lot of it was frozen stuff we bought today, and then there's a couple of fresh things. We got some burgers we're gonna do tonight that were pretty good. And then mom got like a little decent sized roast that she was talking about cutting into to do some stuff with it. And I'm like, okay, do you want to do half of this as an actual roast? And then we just cut the others into like some kind of like strip steaks or whatever the case be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure on that one. Dude, I'll
That's
tell
why.
you what, I kind of wish you had been there with us and had your smoker here in Ohio because they had the hugest piece of brisket in there. It was well over $100, honestly, itself. But like, I just looked at that and I'm like, yeah, I can give this to Corey. He could smoke this for 14, 16 hours, whatever it is, and we just have some awesome ass brisket.
Oh no, dude! Something that huge has to smoke damn near the whole fucking day, if not longer. Because
All right.
I mean, it's a lot of meat.
Yeah.
You gotta smoke that shit for a while because it's not like direct heat,
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah, it's
not
like
sitting
air
on.
cooking.
Yeah, so you gotta smoke that bitch for a
Yeah, I
long
wasn't
time.
sure. I wasn't sure because I was thinking it was more like an 18-hour smoke, but then again, I'm not a dude that does that kind of smoking stuff. So.
And plus, something that big too, I would also marinate probably for at least a good day or two.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What would you
Just
marinate it
tenderize
in
it.
though?
My own personal concoction marinade that
Because I've heard
my
people
dad
talk
passed
about
down.
using like pineapple juices and stuff like that, but it also is so acidic it'll eat through it too as well.
Yeah. No, I have my own personal marinade blend that I've used for many, many, many years.
Mm.
That works really, really well. And one thing I like doing too, it sounds nasty, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, you never get the flavor of it. All it is like a binding agent.
Mm-hmm.
You just rub the fucking entire meat with mustard and then put your seasoning on it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And it's really
There was
fucking good, but you
one.
never get the taste of mustard ever.
There was one. It was one of my cousins back in the day. I'm pretty sure he's dead now. We had a get together when I was a kid, and I was never a fan of mustard at all, actually, because autism and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's like different taste for my palate and whatnot. And he had done something. He had done this chicken, and I was like, "Oh, this chicken is so." I had a ton of that chicken as a kid, by the way, at that party. Like I just kept going back for more and more is what it was. And my mom asked for the recipe, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's some Dijon mustard," and I'm just like, "Wait, what?" Because you wouldn't think it was, because it was just like the smoke. It was like the smoke / grill flavor,
Yep.
because I've been just marinated properly is what it was there.
Yeah, that last brisket that I made, what was it, like a week or so ago? I put in food porn on Discord.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I covered that bitch, I lathered it up in mustard,
Let's go find that
seasoned
real
it with my
quick.
own
So
seasoning concoction, which, by the way, when I cook food, it never tastes the same way ever because I always season it differently. I might use new seasonings so my food's always different. I can't ever duplicate. I can get close, but I never actually duplicate the flavoring because it's kind of like an experimental thing for me. I always try to develop different flavors and see what I can do if I can make it better. And so, yeah, I always just use my own concoction. But yeah, I've been barbecuing since I was like 10 years old.
okay, just to be clear, this is the brisket you're referring to, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's the last one I made. That
Okay.
bitch was so fucking tender. That's why it's in pieces. It fell apart before I could even get it out of the foil to cut up.
Yeah, and then you got your nice little tear parts there.
Yeah, give me a second.
All right. So anyway, moving on to a slightly different topic for the day. The UWA strike that happened here in Ohio and a couple other states is what it is. So you've had car manufacturers basically go on strike against the big auto brands now. It was Ford. I forget what the second one was, and then it was GM was the third one then. And that started at midnight tonight. Biden's backing it, which should tell you everything you need to know right now
Right.
of how it was going to be a giant shit show. I kind of do back it to some extent because of the way that they've been talking about how they've been getting fucked over is what it is.
Uh-huh.
And you have all these car manufacturers making record prices and stuff like that, and they're just like, yeah, we're not going to give the people that actually make the vehicles a damn dime, basically, is what it is. So it's someplace in the middle, honestly, right now, and it's just very irritating all the way around. And it does show, like, people have the ability to weaponize and deal a blow to big corporations right now. And truthfully, going back to where the railroad strike should have been about 4 or 6 months ago, someplace in there. Yeah, that should have happened a long time ago, honestly, dude. And that could, like, the thing about that is, though, I think that would actually cripple our economy entirely just because of the fact you have so much stuff running by rail car still at this country. And it would be kind of like if truckers went on strike here and then like shut us down for like a day or two, we could just never catch back up with what it is. So,
Oh, I know. I agree. I saw something the other day. It's probably like a week ago now. My wife actually showed it to me where that trucker strike that was going on in Canada a while back. Those truckers are actually being punished now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're being arrested and stuff like that.
Yeah, being arrested and thrown in jail.
All having their bank accounts stripped and stuff like that and seized and everything, which is what really fucked up in general.
Yeah, it is.
So,
because you piss off the truckers, dude, you ain't getting shit. The truck driver can literally fucking cripple an entire city if they wanted to by going on strike. That's like the heart of the nation, our transportation system. They bring in the goods and stuff for us. So you piss the truckers off that bad to where they shut down. Yeah, we're fucked. And I used to be a truck driver too, but not actually moving goods and everything, but I'm called hydrate, quick lime, which is just two different forms of lime. But yeah, I've seen how you don't want to piss off truckers.
Yeah, for sure. Hang on, I'm trying to track a package right now that I have coming to deliver me tomorrow. So, trying to see which place is actually delivering it because I thought they said it was supposed to be through the mail, but
no, Krabby, I don't.
Might be UPS.
Right.
So I'm not sure. I need to find this out. Okay, let's take off that ID number and see if it's thing. Okay, so that's not valid. So let me go back to USPS and see if that actually comes up then. Okay, it is USPS. Okay, that's good. All right, so as far as I'm aware, it's right now in Twinsburg, so it'll be here sometime tomorrow. Whenever my mail gets delivered.
And what is it?
I'm getting a new pair of headphones because the earbud went on these the other day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were telling me that it was fucking up.
Yeah, it's only the lefty or right ear I can hear out of now, so I want to get a new pair to hopefully they're better sound quality too, for that matter. So anyway, let's see where's that now. Yeah, to go back to what I was talking about yesterday when you weren't here, the abortion stuff going on here in Ohio. There's a new ad out now. I swear to God, if these people are not Antifa, I would be shocked. It's basically a couple sitting on a couch, man and woman, who were talking about like, oh, in Ohio, we couldn't have our miscarriage done here, whatever the case be, under Ohio law. And it's like, yes, you could have. Like, you're just straight up lying about things right now.
They're good at it.
And it's like the same bullshit that they always push, where that was that 10-year-old girl in this state who was raped by an illegal alien and then supposedly forced to go to Indiana to go have the abortion and stuff like that. It's like, nah, dude, she wouldn't have been an emergency case under Ohio's 6-week heartbeat bill. That should be law right now, but it's not law because some fucking piece of shit Obama appointee or whoever it is decided, oh, we're going to take this to court and do an injunction on it, or whatever the case be, and have this be injunction so you can still have kids be killed all the way up to, 2-3 months in is what it is right now. Which is so ridiculous.
I do not know why they're so hell-bent on murdering kids. I don't.
It's because they're Satan sacrificing is what it is. It's
I know, but
demons.
Just like some part of you has to know this is wrong.
They do. They just don't care is what it is. Well, it's even a thing I talk with my sister about. quite a few times in the last few years because she's a hardcore Democrat. She voted Hillary in 2016, and I don't know who she voted for in 2020 though. But anyway, doesn't really matter. She, we have had this discussion in the past though about okay, like when is it a child? Is it at conception? Is it beyond that, or whatever the case be? And her whole thing has always been, oh, it's viability. Like when can the kid survive outside the womb without needing like machines and
Right.
prenatal
Yeah.
care and everything else like that. And so her thing is sort of like 4.5, 5 months in, something like that is what it would be then. When you can actually have kids survive, then is what it would be then.
Yeah, but technically,
And
if you want to get really technical, a kid is not technically viable
mhm.
until they can take care of their own selves.
Yeah,
Because
well,
they're always depending on
yes.
you as the parent to take care of them, to live, to survive, to thrive.
Well, I think what her point is the viability outside of the womb itself.
No, I know what
and
it
not just
is. I'm
dying
just
outright
getting way
is what it
too
would be then.
technical.
Yeah, it would be something like that. But that's the whole point. It's like, and again, it goes back to like all this other stuff, and it's just insane shit though. And that's the thing. Like, I even look back at my own self, and at one point, like, I was definitely considered myself pro-choice, and I was always one of those people that's like, oh yeah, it's a woman's body kind of thing, whatever the case be. And mind you, I was in my teens and early 20s back then.
Right.
And yeah, the longer we've gone though, in the last, I would say 15 years or so, my stance has changed entirely on that one, because it used to be something like that when I was like 22, 25, something like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, you just have all these chicks out, 3, 4, 5 years later being like, oh, we should have abortion on demand without consequence. I'm going to shout my abortion from the rooftops. I've had 27 abortions. I'm going to top it on a t-shirt kind of thing is what it is. And I'm just like, y'all are just fucking insane, man.
Yeah, kind of like Alyssa Milano saying she's happy she did her 2 abortions because she wouldn't be where she's at now if she hadn't have done it.
That to me is like one of the most disgusting stories I've ever heard in my entire life. So you have her, mind you, this was pre Double Dragon. That was the movie she did after she had those abortions. First film.
Yeah.
Any kind of other thing in Hollywood she ever did was that movie. So it was 1992, give or take. She had gotten pregnant from her then boyfriend. I don't think they ever got married is what it was. And, was on track to have this kid or whatever the case be, realized it was going to derail her career, has an abortion at whatever month in is what it was there. Several months down the road, pretty sure it's the same guy, knocks her up again, a couple months along, kills that kid too. And it's like, clearly God was telling you something, that he wanted you to have a child at some point there.
Right.
If you're able to get that quick turnaround and be conceiving 2 children in the time period then. But yeah, she's just so... And then she's like the worst kind of hypocrite too, because she'll sit there and be like, I'm totally against guns, but here's a 38 special in my purse. It's like, what? Like, she truly is insane, man. I tell you what.
No, she is. I 100% agree. Yeah.
Well, what's even worse is, and then we got the go back to 2020 lockdown stuff. She was making that fucking like knit weaved mask. And she's like, look, I made my own mask. It totally works. There's all these air holes in it. It's like, what the fuck? She's man, she's a kook for sure. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think she's evil.
Oh, she's definitely demonic for sure. There's a lot of those people that are though, and like honestly, I would say truthfully, like anybody that's had more than like, if you look at any person that hasn't been ostracized from Hollywood in the past 20 years, those are the people, especially the ones that are pushing like gun control and like abortion stuff, or like in Milano's case, they're like, oh, let's drive these liberal people to the polls and these old folks to the polls so they can go, vote left again is what it is. And to me, how is that not a variation of voter manipulation then?
Yeah.
Or like some kind of like voter fraud-esque type of thing or whatever then, because you're like, you're taking these people on a 15-20 minute drive to a polling place. Damn well they're the whole time in that car, they're like, yeah, old Gene, like this is how you should vote. You should be voting down ticket Democrat. And you just have to press this button and just keep going down this way to do it. Like, there's no way that they're not influencing voters doing that shit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what really bothers me about Hollywood opening their super fucking mouths about anything. It's like, I don't really care what your opinion is, dude. Like, You might as well be a trained monkey at that point, honestly, because that's what you basically are. You are acting. You're acting out a scene in a movie or a TV show, whatever it is, you're playing characters. You might be good at that, but you suck at everything else is what it is. I don't give a shit about your political opinions or anything. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, if they want to do that on their own personal time and everything, that's one thing. But when they're, actively in their jobs or whatever positions, like athletes and everything, I don't give a flying fuck about your politics. Just do what you're paid to do, whether it's acting, playing sports, whatever.
Exactly.
And then do it in your own time.
Yeah.
It's like I can't even stand watching really anything new anymore because it's so fucking either woke or heavily political. Like, oh, this is my opinion. I'm gonna shove it down your fucking throat whether you want to or not, or want it or not. And it's just like I can't stand it anymore, dude. Like I'm about
it's like
ready
that
to
Chucky
call for a
TV
boycott on
series.
everything.
You had that was greenlit, and of course GLAAD was a lot behind it because they're like, oh, we need to get representation in this show, or whatever the case be. So you have like this 13, 14-year-old boy, whatever it is, who's not supposed to be gay. And what's fucked up is, so I watched that first episode of that series, and it basically, the first episode ends with it's like, oh, are you gay and suicidal? There's resources out there to help you now. Like, here's the number to call. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's completely insane.
Yeah.
And then apparently it went like fully off the rails in that second season because it went from a gay agenda to a trans agenda. And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, where are you gonna go for season 3, man? Like, what more is there at that point, honestly?
They're gonna come out cross species.
I'm seriously wondering if it's not gonna be like Two-Spirit shit where they're like, I'm a dog man or whatever the case be, or it's like a cat boy or whatever they call themselves now or some shit like that.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Like, it's just like, and the thing is, like, the entire Child's Play franchise is literally about a killer doll. Like, what the fuck does being gay or trans have to do with being a killer doll?
Right.
Oh yeah, that's right, nothing. Well, it's the same exact shit they've been pushing for years in various countries. Like, there was one a few years ago, I think it was a Sprite commercial for like Argentina or something like that. And the entire commercial was about some kid doing it was some chick doing a chest binder to make herself look like a guy, and then going to a Pride event, and it's like, oh, you should drink Sprite. And it's like, what the fuck does this have to do with a beverage company? Absolutely nothing. It's just like, at what point do you just say, fuck you, man? Like, fuck you, fuck your products, we're boycotting your shit now. Which takes us back to Liberty Safe, honestly, and their subsidiaries. Obviously should be boycotted out of existence right now.
Yeah, how's that going right now?
No idea. I know Champion, within the first 24 hours of the whole thing, which was a week or two ago now, they had a whole bunch of people call them up and be like, hey, we want to get in your safe now. Like, what do we need to do to buy your safes here? So, yeah, I'm sure that there's a bunch of people out there buying various other stuff now. But the thing is with Liberty, it's like they own like a good market share right now. It's not just Liberty Safes. It's their safe company. It's the store brands for Cabela / Bass Pro. It is a bunch of other ones under different other names and stuff like that. So you really got to know what you're buying is what it is to not buy their shit. It's like the same thing with Anheuser-Busch and stuff like that. You got not just Bud Light, but it's like every other thing under the umbrella of Anheuser-Busch there. Where it would be like all these various, like, what you think are like microbrews, but they're actually bought up by them. So you almost need to just go to, like, depending on the state you live in, and just find like an actual small brewing company you like and just buy their stuff. So
if I lived closer to it, I'd go down to outside of Austin and go to Jared and Jensen's fucking
the Winchester one.
Yeah, the Winchester one.
The thing is, though, I've heard at least one of the two of those guys is kind of like wish-washy on some stuff.
I wouldn't doubt if it was Jared
Padalecki. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was. I don't know. Like, he could be a good dude, honestly. I think Jensen Eccles is for sure, though. Or at least somewhat anyway. Like, I say that as if I, really truly know these guys, which I really don't. Obviously, they're actors, is what it is. I never trust an actor about anything, honestly.
Yeah,
Dude,
no shit, because they get paid to be someone else
like,
every day.
and that's the thing too. And they're like the whole point of like acting is you're actually like lying in a lot of cases, and it's like you're just becoming a better liar. It's like look at Reagan's presidency; like he was an actor before he became president. There,
Yeah.
now it makes a whole lot of sense back in the '80s of how he was so good at fucking doing stuff. And that's the thing. Even back then, they were talking about like, was he even a viable president at one point because he was taking fucking naps and shit during hearings and things. Meanwhile, you got Biden fucking trailing off, talking about, "Oh, I'm gonna go to bed now. I don't know about you guys, but I'm out here later, man."
Right, or shitting
Or did
his
you
pants
hear the
on live
latest one
TV
about
at the
his ass there?
Vatican.
Oh my god, dude! Like I was on Twitter earlier today, and it was the was it like Latin Lexit, I think is what it's called, because it's like the Latinos exiting Democrat Party and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it might be them trying to actually break off of California too, like in a better part of it or whatever. Then to like cut that in half or something. And make a better California out of the remnants, basically. But yeah, it was them. It was basically Biden in this like 13, 14-second clip talking about like minorities and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, African Americans and Hispanics, they need those jobs because they don't have, like most of them are dropouts, high school dropouts and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, talk about some racist ass shit, dude. Like, it's just so insane. Like, he's just a fucking, like, Jesus. And that's the thing, like, I don't care if they wanted to steal a presidency or not, dude. Like, at least get somebody that's a better person to steal it for you. Like, you couldn't have just backed Tulsi Gabbard. At least she would have been somewhat likable.
I don't know. I don't trust them, any of them.
I don't either, but that's the whole point. It's like, they had her in there as a possibility. It's like, the only thing I could guess is that she's like, no, I'm not going to be your figurehead for you, is what it was. And that's pretty much why they were like, okay, fuck you then. And like sort of shoved her to the wayside and had Bernie toss himself out then as well. And then Biden became the last man standing, is what it was then. So
they're all crooked as their day is long.
It's just so ridiculous in general.
Later, Krabby.
Yeah, I went out to do a couple things today, actually. We went to go water at the park, which wasn't of itself a trick. Couldn't get the damn trunk open in the car for quite a bit of time because the car is just weird. And then finally got it to pop open, and it was just real pain in the ass. Mom and I are realizing that we probably should have just tried to save a little bit more money, honestly, and get a better thing then, because this vehicle is just like, I think the problem is it sits too low for both of us to really get in properly.
Right.
And I know for a fact I actively pulled a muscle on my kneecap this morning just trying to get in and out of the damn thing.
Jesus, dude.
So
yeah, that's why I hate small vehicles. I refuse to even try to get in.
It's not a small vehicle. It's just so low to the fucking ground. And
that's what I mean.
So we're so used to having the van for like the last 15, 20 years now. And then before that was like another van, obviously. But yeah, when you're going to a sedan that's like way deeper down and stuff like that, it's like the only thing worse I've ever sat in was a Mini Cooper, honestly. Was trying to get down to that thing. That was a fucking trip in of itself, actually. That was when I lived in Columbus back in the day.
One of the worst.
Renting one. And I could fit into it. It actually felt comfortable when I was sitting in the damn thing, but it's like, yeah, you're trying to get out of it and you're like basically like falling out into the ground just to get out of it.
Exactly. The worst two vehicles that we've ever owned that I hated and had so much trouble getting in or out. I basically had to sit on the ground and crawl in and then, fall out like a sack of potatoes or something, and then stand up was we had a Honda Accord and we had a Impala. And they were both so fucking low to the ground, dude. I mean, they were comfortable driving. I mean, they weren't bad vehicles. Thing.
This Chevy Impala is actually
a tall motherfucker,
it's a nice
dude.
Seat. Like, I like the seat of it. It fits me well as a big man, but it's just getting in and out is a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, if there was a way we could even like jack up the chassis like a couple feet or something like that, maybe put some different tires on it and make it a better vehicle or something like that, where it's almost like a truck / SUV, like rise up on or something. Like, yeah, it'd be a perfect vehicle then.
Since I'm, such a tall dude, I'm always hitting my head on shit anyways, just because my height. But dude, I've never hit my head so much as getting in and out of certain vehicles.
Yeah, I swear to God, I my head today on that Chevy too.
I swear I get a concussion every time I do it because it's like slack. I'm like, fuck you, and I want to beat the shit out of the car.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some good corn though today at the local produce place, so that's gonna be good.
You got what?
Some good corn on the cob.
Oh, I swear to God, I thought you said you got some good porn. I'm like, what?
No, we got a couple ears of corn on the cob from the place over there. It's really good.
I still got
they
some
actually
porn
had they
when I
actually
grew
had
mine.
something too. It was I think it's called like a Cosmic Crisp apple. So I got a few of those to try them. I heard it's supposed to be like a mix between Honey Crisp and something else. Then I love Honey Crisp too, by the way. So I'm gonna see if this Cosmic Crisp is any better. I may actually just go out and grab one of those right now and just do a quick like Apple review or something on the chat. That'd be the case.
I like Granny Smith's. I like the kind of bitterness of it.
Actually, you know what? Take over for 5 minutes. I'm gonna go grab an apple and do a live review then.
All right. It's sleepy time with Sleepy Ginger. I ain't done shit today, and I feel like I fucking ain't slept in a week. Who's still out there in the chat? Y'all got anything y'all want to say? I know Krabby left. 500, you still out there? Y'all should jump on the chat too. 500, Krabby. I know Krabby's not here, but I'm just saying y'all should hop on the chat one day. Be on the panel. Yeah, I figured you're still there, Brandon. Did I tell you, after being here where I'm at in Texas, and for like close to 3.5 months of not having any rain or anything, and just being fucking just beaten to death with heat, step outside and you feel like you just crawled yourself into a fucking 400-degree oven. Lately we've had cool temperatures and fucking rain. Like, it's rained all damn day today, and I'm like, oh God, thank you. But I have to realize it's false fall right now, so once this is over, we're probably going to experience another couple of weeks of, sun baking fucking heat before we finally hit true fall. I'm not looking forward to that at all, because I'm enjoying this cool weather right now. It's like tonight, I think it's supposed to get down to like in the 60s, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. And this rain has been great, even though it's kind of fucking with my allergies and everything. But hey, I'd rather deal with that than frying like a fucking egg in a pan. Iowa Outcast, how goes it? I don't think I recognize your name.
Yeah, you showed up here the other day.
Although, I mean, do you really exist? Because we know Iowa doesn't exist at all.
So I got a Cosmic Crisp out of the thing that washed off here. So we're gonna do a live review. This is the first time I've had one of these apples. Now, from my understanding, they're supposed to be a mix between Honey Crisp and something else, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think I've had those before.
Taste a teeny bit like Honey Crisp, not much though.
Now, like I said, the bitterness of it. I know I'm weird.
It tastes a little bit more on the sweet side than the tart side. Yeah, I prefer my apples a little bit more tart than this.
Yeah. Well, that sucks, Brandon. Does that mean you got a virus? Did you catch something from the Yankee chat? Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Your phone's like, nope, never again. Oh, shit. Hopefully, it's treatable.
You know. I wonder if this would be a little bit better if I put it in the fridge and let it get a little cold. Since it was just sitting out today.
Fuck no, you need to dunk that shit in some caramel. Like you get apples at the fair that are covered in caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Or caramel.
Yeah, I prefer my apple. It's like a little bit. Like I prefer them cold because usually when we get them at the orchard place that we go to, they usually pull them out of the back and they're already in like their like cold room environment, whatever you call it there. It's just a lot better from there.
So is it somewhere that you actually truly trust? Because I've heard that they've been putting
I know it's the appeal stuff, and I was looking for it on this. It didn't have anything like that on it.
They put this coating and shit on it to make it appear and be fresh and everything. But I've heard a lot of people, several cases where people cut open certain things and it's rotten on the inside.
Yeah, it's called appeal. It's APEEL or something like that. It's done by Bill Gates. And it's only certain fruits right now. I know it's done it's major change usually when they're carrying this. This is a small mom and pop thing that has these apples in it. So I trust them to actually buy their good quality shit is what it is.
That's good. That's good.
So I don't know. I think these were like, I know they had Washington Gala apples and some other stuff the other day, but I'm not sure where they got these ones from. But yeah, they're good. And they might be Ohio grown even for that matter. Because I know a lot of our apples are in season right now, are pretty close to in season right now.
So they're integrated with the Ohio Pride water. I got you. So you're eating radioactive.
We're turning the freaking frogs gay live on TV.
If you start growing a third eye, we know something's wrong. Feel like the fucking fish from The Simpsons.
No, it'll be a pingina.
Oh, gotcha. I don't know. Maybe that's how the fucking zombie apocalypse starts. I'm all for it.
This is very.
Bring on the zombie apocalypse.
I don't know if you can see that or not. It's like super, super moist inside.
That's what she said.
Water inside
of it. Oh shit!
But yeah, it's got like a lot of extra juices in it. Seems like this would probably be really good actually if we did it for like pies or something.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty good. I've had slightly better and I've had a lot worse. Honestly, I'll say it like that. So I'd say this is definitely someplace in the middle for me. Honestly, like maybe middle to high. Definitely not like top 5 or top 10 or anything like that. But definitely, I would say maybe top 20 or so of apples I've eaten in my life. So.
I'm not that big of an apple fan. We used to have.
It depends on for me.
We used to, at our old property, we had a Granny Smith apple tree growing in the back, and we also had a peach tree. And like real peaches for me, like straight off the tree, they're okay. But I don't know. I prefer them the ones that come out of the can that are like super sweet and everything, because a real peach is just kind of boring.
Well, also has a fur on the outside too.
They made great cobblers though. I used to make cobblers from them until the bugs started eating the fucking tree and then killing it. Welcome to the apple eating show, guys.
So, there was cider at this place that I went to today. I don't trust that cider, though. Because the thing is, if I'm going to take cider from someplace, it has to be unpasteurized or very close to it.
Mm-hmm.
The shit that they have in this place, it's definitely, you can tell it's pasteurized just from the look of it. Like, you can usually tell the difference if you're going to look at an apple cider in a jug or jar, whatever the case be, or gallon jug, whatever it is there.
Yeah.
And you could just tell from the coloration if it's pasteurized or not. And this stuff was so light, it almost looked like apple juice. So it was definitely pasteurized several different times. And I'm not
Why
a fan
you
of that
always
shit.
go buy your shit from the Amish?
Well, the thing is, the apple orchard we have gone to in the past that I think they shut down for a little bit of time because the wife died and the husband sold the place off. I'm not sure if I think they're opening again this fall is what it is then. Either right now or it's like a couple weeks from now is what it is. They did some of the best unpasteurized apple cider I've ever had in my entire life. The problem was it was a few years ago. There was that weird frost in it's either like May or June here, and it killed off a ton of the crops for that year to the point where you had their cider, which would have been I think it was like four or $4.50 a gallon. What it was usually, it jumped to like $12 a gallon or something like that for that season, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, they got to make their money back.
Yeah, there's no way I'm justifying that. Like, it's good stuff, but I'm not justifying that for it though.
Well, see, I would, because you're giving your money to local businesses rather than giant corporations. I'd rather spend, it was like you said, it was $4.50 and it jumped to 12. I'd rather spend that extra money just to support them and their endeavors for providing good natural.
Well, the thing is, we were buying
product.
apples there then too, and it was like
Oh,
we
I
could
know.
afford the apples just barely, and it's like, yeah, we couldn't afford the cider. So the nice thing about that place is they usually had like a little sample thing, so we definitely did take like a sample testing, obviously, of the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think they might have done away with that for that year because they didn't have enough of it to even do samples then, which sucked, but it was whatever. Interestingly, actually, this leads into a story about my niece and her birth. So my sister-in-law, we had some of this cider sitting around. I forget if it was at the house here, it was down at the farm maybe, and it had apparently gone a little bit. I'm sorry. We had given some to my brother, and he had left some down in his fridge down in Columbus, and then they had let it go to where it had gotten sort of fermented a little bit and was kind of a little bit alcoholic or whatever. And they didn't realize it, and she ended up having a glass of it that night, and that's basically what induced her labor for my niece. So
Really?
yeah, because she was like, I'm pretty sure my niece was either a day before she was supposed to be born, or it was like a day or two after, and she had not gone into labor at that point. And then all of a sudden, she like took this drink of this, and she was like, all of a sudden, her water broke and everything. So I was like, within like a half hour or so of that drink. So yeah.
I don't know. There may be a correlation to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to compare anything, but in 2008, I had my gallbladder removed, and everything was fine up until I was out to dinner. It was me and my girlfriend at the time. We were at one of my real good friends from college at his house with his wife, and we were eating dinner. And we were having Mexican food, fajitas, chips and queso, or salsa and queso and whatnot. And I was fine up until that dinner, and I started eating everything. It was fucking delicious. I ate a shit ton of salsa because I can't turn down good chips and salsa. And also, I think it's a stress as well, because I get a phone call during dinner that my sister is being flown by helicopter to Parkland Hospital in Dallas, which is the burn unit. Fantastic fucking hospital and fantastic burn unit. And so I'm hauling ass back home. I end up blowing through a fucking red light and get a cop on my ass. I get up towards where we were living, and you could see there was like 2 or 3 fire trucks, an ambulance, several police. And I got this cop on my ass. I'm waving my arm out the window like, come on, and I'm pointing up ahead. So he can clearly see all the lights and sirens ahead. I pull up there, and that motherfucker jumps out of his car with his gun drawn like I'm a fleeing fucking felon or something. And I just killed, a family of 1,000 people or something, like I'm pure evil. And he's threatening me with federal fucking prison and shit like this. And I'm like, my fucking sister's in there. I don't know if she's alive or dead or not. And he's out there treating me like a piece of shit. He eventually just gives me a fucking ticket and leaves. By this time, my sister's already getting flown to Dallas. So I hop in the car with my mom, and we were starting to head towards Dallas, and I just fucking end up in the fetal position in the damn near in the floorboard, which is hard because I'm a big dude. So she basically kicks me out of the fucking uh, car at the hospital. And this is technically the third night that I went to the hospital, because I went the night before because I was having an attack and I was in a severe pain. But both nights they thought I was a drug seeker, gave me a shot of morphine, sent me home. And then like I said, the third night is when I finally went to the hospital, and sure enough, my fucking gallbladder just quit working, just shut down for no reason. So I'm having emergency surgery while my sister's in fucking Dallas. I'm surprised my mom didn't have a heart attack then and die with having both her kids, in somewhat, pretty serious condition. My sister was even more serious. But yeah, it's weird how different shit can bring on different attacks with people, is my point. So there could be something with that cider that for her specifically is what kicked off her and induced her labor.
Yeah, maybe.
And that right there was also one of the defining moments for me, to where I'm like, fuck the police, because that cop easily saw that there was an emergency going on, but yet was still threatening to fucking arrest me. I had a fucking gun damn near in my face, and said he's going to take me to federal prison because I'm evading the law enforcement. I wanted to so badly beat his ass.
Yeah.
But I was more
like
worried about my
before,
family.
It's the same thing with the fucking feds and myself,
Yeah, I mean, it's
just
fucking
them trying
disgusting,
to sit there and go into that half-hour fucking conversation with me with that fake ass Wish.com Hank Schrader, where he's all like, "Oh, you said if," or no, I said if, and he was like, "No, you said I," and I'm like, "No, I said if." You can literally go back and watch it yourself, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what he was trying to do. Like, they knew they had nothing on me that day, and they were trying to get me to self-incriminate to something.
Exactly.
So they could turn me into one of these blood tribe, fucking Patriot Front, Fed boy, informant, fucking douchebags that are all in their masks all the time.
Mm-hmm. But I tell you, man, if you've never had a gun in damn near in your face before, that's some trippy shit, dude.
Oh, I know.
Because I've had it multiple times, but it actually, because most people would probably, cower and freak out and be like, please don't, and everything. Dude, I was fucking amped up, and if he wasn't a cop, I would have beat his ass.
Were you like that one dude that's like, arrest me? And then
pretty much, man.
Fucking mace him in the face with like a full bottle of OC.
I was pissed off, and what also really pissed me off even more is my mom came outside. She's in the fence, okay, coming out of the backyard, because we're in the back of the house. And so she comes out trying to figure out what's going on with me, and she's talking to the cops, and the cops is telling her to take her ass back inside or he's going to arrest her too. And I about lost my shit there to whoop his ass, because how he was treating her while she was just coming out trying to figure out what the fuck was going on and explain what was going on inside the house, why I, was in a hurry back. So, yeah, fuck the cops.
And on that note, I think that's a good place to leave off today. I will be doing a new stream tomorrow night after NEA's Toy Chat, whatever the hell you want to call it now, called Surly Saturday. It'll basically be what Honda used to do on Saturday nights. So if anyone wants to be on that panel, let me know. I'll drop links to a few people is what it is. And unfortunately, I'm not paying for the StreamYard at this time, so we can only have up to 6 guys on here, but I can either drop myself out if I need to at some point here and throw somebody else in my spot then. But I'd like to have a full 6-pack if we can and just have a nice discussion or something. So, but yeah, it'll basically be one of those kind of old school Saturday night Honda chats, if that be the case then. So it should be fun, hopefully. And probably go for like an hour, hour and a half, depending here. Well, depending on when we start, because I don't really want to go too late, obviously. And I think I scheduled it for like 10:30, 11 o'clock tomorrow night, someplace in there.
Mm-hmm.
So You know, if Matt wants
Yeah,
to shut his down a little bit earlier or whatever the case be, I can just drop in for like an hour and a half and have a couple of those dudes on the panel with us and whatnot. So
yeah, I've been thinking about starting up doing my videos again, like Saturdays or whatever,
you
or
should, man.
anytime.
Like
But
honestly, because if I don't do the Saturday chat or whatever the case be, somebody needs to take it over at this point. Honestly,
yeah, and that was my goal to begin with, is just do at least one every Saturday, just so people have an alternate spot. But um, I've had so much shit going on lately,
and it's understandable. It's understandable.
I haven't had time. I mean, I probably could, but I don't know how well it would have turned out, just because the shit that's been going on. I've been stressed the fuck out.
Well, it's like what Honda said a few times now. He's like, yeah, I wish I didn't have this chat to do because I like to do other stuff or whatever the case be, or be able to just chill out or whatever the case be. And that's why there's time that, like, I've been honest with people about it. There's times where I won't do some of these because I'm literally napping at the time and I end up missing them because I'm asleep in bed. That's literally like 3 feet that direction.
Yeah.
Where I could just jump from here and I'd be in my bed right now. So,
But yeah, and plus, I my videos before were, circled around my garden, and I don't have my garden right anymore because of the fucking heat and the drought and everything. And plus, I had my surgery to take that 2-inch mass out of my fucking chest, and I was down for a while for that. Couldn't do anything, and honestly didn't feel like doing anything because I was hurting and just felt like crap. That neglect as well is what caused my garden to die off. But now that the cooler temperatures are around and I can actually get out there and do shit without catching 3rd-degree burns, I'm gonna break out my plow, which isn't very big. It's just a small little fucking tiller, and I'm gonna till up at least my little garden again and plant some stuff, and then I can start up my garden videos again, because I know people like that stuff.
yeah.
I got positive reviews from my garden videos.
And especially if you could get your chicken feeder going to get yourself some chickens and stuff.
Yeah, I just haven't had time to do that either, man. I would love to do that because I have a perfect spot for it, to where I can at least get everything
So they
going.
can just drop out of there and feed the chickens.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I've got the spot for it, but I just haven't had the extra money because money's been tight, not just for me, but I'm sure for everybody.
Oh yeah.
So I don't have the money to get the materials. But now that I have a truck again, I can go to a couple places and get at least pallet wood, where I can build a coop from pallet wood.
Something.
And I can get some chickens and start that, and I can show the progress of building that and everything. So I'm getting to a little bit better of a place. And now that I don't know if you were around when I said this to Matt the other day, but I have a set date for my disability stuff finally.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's at the end of the year. So I'm hoping I can get that approved, and then things will start looking up from there. I'm praying and everything that, all that works out. But I'm not holding my breath because it's still the government,
Yeah.
The government likes to fuck over the people.
Yeah. Especially with parental rights and stuff like that a lot of times.
Yeah. So I've had a lot going on. That's why I haven't really done videos. I need to get back into it because honestly, this shit, being on these chats and everything actually helps me a lot.
It helps us all a lot. And I don't know who mentioned it. Maybe it was Matt, maybe it was Honda, maybe it was a bunch of people at once. It's a group therapy session for most of us.
Yeah, because that's how I actually initially got involved with being on Matt's chat or Honda's chats, and then Matt's is when I lost my mom.
Yeah.
And Honda let me on there, and between that and then getting on Matt's and then them and everybody on the panel and stuff, I don't think they realize how much that helped me through all that time.
Oh, I've said it before. If it wasn't for Honda and them last year, after we had the fallout with Guns Barbecue and stuff like that, I would have taken my own life, honestly, around that time.
And that's not good. I wasn't to that point, but I mean,
I'm gonna get into the whole thing right now before we leave this chat today, actually, because I still want an apology from Guns Barbecue and Baron SVG for what they did to me last year. And if I don't get one, along with PNW Woods too, for that matter. And G23. I want to see the shit out of every single one of these guys by the end of the year because I'm sick and tired of this shit. It's been more than a year now. They slandered my character. They defamed me, and I'm fucking over it, dude. I did nothing wrong, honestly. I said the fucking truth in a stream of my own goddamn channel last year that these guys took way the fuck out of context to the point that I thought I was going to have an Antifa direct action on my fucking home that sent me into a downward spiral for over a month of my life to where I was so fucking over it. I debated about walking outside with a gun in my hand to take my own fucking life to stop it from happening.
I'm glad you didn't do that, man. I really am.
If it was not for one of the boys here, and I'm gonna say who it was, Krabby Turtle, if it was not for him being there for me that day, I would not be here to this day. And I thank him every single day for being there and being my brother. Because he was one of the few people that actually backed me in this whole situation. And yeah, if it wasn't for you guys and hearing me out and being there for me, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah, because one thing I can say about, and I'm sure Brandon and anyone else listening to this that's a guy can relate to, is we tend to bottle everything up as men because we feel like no one, we're supposed to be like the strong, tough protector and provider, and we have to maintain that at all times. So we have to bottle everything up because we don't want to seem weak, and we feel like no one really wants to hear our problems or hear us, to complain or anything. So we just keep everything bottled up, and we just get to points where we can't take it no more. And it comes out sometimes in the wrong way or not the right way, or however you want to phrase it. But I know for like me personally, I just don't talk about shit hardly because I keep it bottled up because I feel like I have to or I need to. And I've said more shit and been, somewhat open on these chats with you or Honda's chats or match chats with people than I ever have in my life. And in a lot of ways, it felt good to get certain things out and, talk about stuff, and especially losing both my parents in the last year and a half. I mean, so yeah, I appreciate fucking everybody listening to me, and that, and how guys are, they like to fuck around with each other, and they like fucking with each other and pushing buttons, and I also worry about that, saying different things. Like Honda, like he fucks with me, like how I say certain words or how I talk or anything.
And again,
but
that's a different story altogether.
Exactly.
That's just you busting each other's balls. What
exactly.
these fuckers did to me when they falsely slandered me as a child molester, you can go fuck yourself, Baron SVG, and you're lucky I didn't drive to Washington State and beat your fucking ass right then and there, dude. Like, you're so fucking lucky, dude. Because he deserved to get his ass kicked for that shit, honestly.
But nah, brother, I'm glad you didn't end up, taking your life or anything, and you're able to process it and work through it, on your own and with these chats and everything. So
well, and that's what it was. And most of that case, it was
it's not
outward
worth
rage, then going inward and not being able to get in my own head with all the fucking scenarios going through my head is what it was for that entire time.
I understand, but it ultimately wouldn't solve anything, and it's
no,
not
it wouldn't. And that's what I realized after the fact is no, these guys are a bunch of fucking pussies that just wanted to sit there and shit talk me. Didn't even realize that I wasn't running for Ohio governor, by the way, at the time, because they're fucking retarded.
There's some just people out there that get their rocks off by treating other people like shit and getting under their skin and just pushing buttons and not stopping, and that they're just that shows that they're not good people and they're evil to an extent.
Oh, I know Baron is for sure, 100%.
I'm not saying they are because I don't know them at all.
Oh no, that dude is 100% Antifa affiliated at minimum, if not Antifa direct.
And
everything I've seen with that motherfucker.
From what it sounds like, I agree with you, but I don't know them personally. I've seen a couple of them in different chats and everything. I've never personally said anything to them or had a conversation, so I don't know
Well,
them.
that's the thing. And Barron didn't even fucking like he was taking all this shit out of context without even ever speaking to me on a fucking chat or anything else like that.
Mm-hmm. And people
didn't
do
come
that.
didn't come to me for a quote, didn't come to me for, oh, did you say this out of context or whatever? Yes, in some cases that was out of context.
Oh, there's been times where I agree. I'll admit I've taken stuff out of context from people, and especially like in text form, it's hard to gauge whether someone's being sarcastic or serious or funny, or you know what I mean, because you read it and you can literally take it however you want, because it's not like you and I are talking where you can hear the sarcasm in the voice or hear the seriousness or the sadness, whatever the situation might be. You can't do that text form. So there's been times where I've gotten really pissed off at certain things because I've taken it out of context when I shouldn't have. Not saying this is what's happening. I'm just, kind of adding to it.
Well, the thing is too, like even going back to the whole situation, this was back in April of 2022. Had it happened immediately, like right after everything went down there, like me doing that stream, and it was like a day or so later is when he started making that bullshit video, whatever the case. No, this motherfucker waited like 2 weeks or something for Yankee to do some stupid ass thing, talking about, oh, if you discuss stuff about pedos, you might be a pedo, and using that to justify me possibly being a fucking pedo. And it's like, no, I'm not, assholes.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm calling out pedophile enablers in our fucking school systems because I'm sick and tired of shit with this shit being shoved down the throat of my 9-year-old fucking niece and my 16-year-old fucking nephew. That's why I'm fucking pissed and raged out, dude.
Exactly.
Because at the time they were 8 and 15 respectively.
But I'll say this, and I know from personal experience, it is extremely hard to do, but at some point, the best thing that you can do for yourself is don't forget it, but forgive them and move on. And dude,
I've tried to move on.
Hold on. I've held a grudge with certain family members of mine for horrible shit that they tried to pull on me for like 15 years. And sometimes when I think about it, it still gets me kind of riled up, but I was like you are, but worse because of what happened. I don't want to discuss this on air because
it's fine. Go ahead.
But I held a grudge so bad that I didn't speak to family. I didn't go down to see family for years, and it ate at me. That anger and that hatred and everything, it ate at me to the point where one day I said I can't do this no more, and I finally had to just say I'll never forget it, but I forgive y'all, and I got to move on. I can't harbor this anymore because it's not healthy. And like I said, it's fucking hard to do, and it took me fucking years to come to that determination. But honestly, it's been better for me now that I finally have let that go and have been letting it go. It's not easy. Trust me, it's not fucking easy.
Oh no, because it eats at you. It eats at you.
It does.
And the thing is, it's like I've tried to let it go for almost a year and a half now. But the thing is, it's like it's very fucking hard to let that shit go, man.
No, it is. Trust me.
And I will never forgive those guys for that. I will never forgive. I will never forget.
I've said the same thing.
They're all dead to me at this point, honestly.
I said the same thing. I really did.
And it makes sense when you look at it of exactly, it does go back to something I want to talk about before in this chat tonight. It goes back to the fact that when you look at why gun owners cannot come together against the anti-gun left, who is also the same people who are killing kids in the fucking womb and beyond that and sterilizing kids all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's because you are infighting with each other. And when you slander one of your own, one of the best of your fucking own, for something that he is not, it's not fucking cool, man. It's completely unjust, and it is defamation and slander lawsuit liable, dude. And I've talked to lawyers about this too, by the way. And if I wanted to right now, I could sue the fuck out of every single one of these guys I mentioned earlier. And the only reason that half of them are in jail right now in the state of Ohio is because Ohio's shitty ass laws about defaming people's characters and stuff like that.
And if that's what you need to do to help you maybe one day get over it, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's always up to you. If that's something that needs to happen so you can kind of put this in your rearview mirror and move on for you and for your health and your stress level and everything, maybe it's something you need to do, or maybe it's something else that you need to find to help you move on. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, brother. I'm not at all.
Oh, I know.
I'm just trying to help you because
No,
I've
and
been there in that
we've
same
sort of had
situation.
this discussion. I think Matt was the one that brought it up about possible YouTube fights and stuff like that, or people fighting each other from the YouTube community and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. I remember.
Oh yeah, I want to fight Baron at this point, dude. Legitimately, like people need to set that shit up right now, and I'll fight that dude in a wrestling match, in a fucking circle, boxing match, whatever you want to do. I don't care, honestly, dude. Bare knuckle brawling. Because that's the only way I'll ever get this off my chest, honestly, is if his ass is 1, 2, 3 KO'd on the fucking mat, honestly.
Maybe that's what I don't know what the right answer, because really there's no right thing to say or right answer or anything. I'm just trying to speak from personal experience of dealing with stuff like that, and I totally relate. It's hard to release that kind of anger and disgust and hatred and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But you're not alone, dude. Trust me, you're not alone.
I know I'm not, and I'm honestly, truthfully, at the end of the day, I'm glad it fucking happened, because it showed the true characters of many in the so-called 2A community of YouTube right now in the past year and a half. And it showed me that some of the people that I was possibly going to rely on in a grid down situation are completely unreliable fucking cunts that I will never speak to again in my life, honestly. And it's as simple as that, honestly.
I totally get you.
So.
You got a question out there?
Yeah, I know. We already sort of talked. I sort of covered that already. I didn't know it was 40%. Again, it's sort of a situation of like weirdness. When you have Ford and stuff making record profit, like this is the problem I have right now. You had the Ford CEO come out of the whole thing and be like, oh, well, we're trying to make the EVs now and do electric vehicle stuff. And it's like, bro, fuck off with that shit. You know damn well they're taking time bombs. Everybody does at this point that has any brain in their head is what it is. And the problem with that is, if you're going to go that route, you don't need to be a company anymore, honestly, because you're going to overload our grid. You're going to create stuff that is in a hurricane situation or any place else like that. When it gets flooded out, batteries get flooded out. It's going to take something like several 100,000 gallons of water to douse that extinguishing fire that's continuing on for days and days at a time. That's what we saw down in Florida with the hurricane there when one popped like that. And or it'll be like the little scooters everywhere now, where if you store enough of them in one spot there, it'll burn down buildings and stuff like that, because it's like one battery blows and that chain reactions, everything else. That's what it is.
And who's to say it's not gonna? These EV vehicles aren't gonna do just like cell phones were years ago, where they were literally exploding in people's pockets, or even the vapes exploding in people's pockets because the shit's unstable or they didn't do it right. I mean, they're trying to crank these fucking EV vehicles out faster than ever before, and I feel like they're cutting way too many corners, and they're going to be killing a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, they are. One thing I do want to mention before we leave today, LeBron James I Promise School, there was a kid beaten to death outside that school about a year or so ago now. The guys who killed him are finally on trial for potentially manslaughter. They should be getting trial for first-degree murder, honestly, at this point, and be given the death penalty in the state of Ohio, which, by the way, as of the other day, Jean Schmidt, who needs to be tossed out of office right now as a fucking around that she is, a few other rhinos and a bunch of Democrats are now trying to abolish the state death penalty in Ohio right now, which is absolute bullshit, because we don't need abolishment of the state death penalty. We need to add stuff to it, whether it be firing squad, public hanging, the chair, the gas chamber, etc. again. So, yeah. Fuck the lethal injection shit. If we can't get the drugs, use alternative methods. Give the people that are on death row that can clearly, like, and I'm not saying that everybody's guilty, obviously, but like, when you can prove that some of these people are clearly guilty, they should not be sitting on death row for 20-something years of their lives. And give them the option. Be like, here's, 4 or 5 things you can pick. Dealer's choice. And it's that simple, honestly. And go from there. But, yeah, that being said, we'll be back tomorrow night. for Surly Saturday, hopefully. And yeah, it'll be me getting pissed off again about something, I'm sure. But I'm sure Corey will be there. Hopefully, a few others will be there.
Yeah,
It'll
if I
basically
can,
be
yeah.
the takeover for Honda's chat. If that be the case, then what do you do on Saturday nights anyway? And yeah, we'll go from there then. But anyway, it's been a good one, as we like to say here. Hug your husband, wife, kids, call mom, dad, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever the case be. Because you never know if today's going to be your last day with them, with all the crazy shit going on in this crazy ass world, and Biden doing all kinds of crazy shit and slandering everybody and being a racist asshole and all that stuff like that, and trying to put us to World War III right now.
Yeah,
and
I'm
all
honestly
talking about like one step from the fucking presidency, and it's like, Jesus Christ, dude.
I miss them immensely. I wish they were here every day, but I'm also kind of glad my parents aren't here to have to suffer through all this bullshit and their bad health that we're
And one
fixing to
thing I
face
will
and we are
say, if you have a
facing.
child out there who's of any age to where they can actually learn proper gun safety, teach them proper gun safety, because you never know if you're going to need somebody to have your six in a grid down, and it might have to be your 6 or 7-year-old child, honestly.
Oh yeah, there's been many cases where, like that one famous case that is all over the internet and still going, it pops up every so often, where it was like that 9-10-year-old boy that shot an intruder through the laundry basket. And he's
Yeah, he
like,
was
I
like
shot.
12, and by the way, that kid's like 20 now,
Mhm.
because it was so long ago. Ironically enough, he did it with the predecessor of the G2C, which was like a PT-111. And it was of all 12 shots out of that magazine, it was the 12th one that hit through that basket and popped the guy in the leg. And he was crying like a little baby.
Yeah, but that just shows that,
that 11 shots were not enough.
Well,
or 10 shots would have never been enough.
Exactly. That, and, don't underestimate a kid, especially, if they're raised right.
Yeah.
It could be exactly. Your kids could be like the sleeper of the family, quote unquote,
Well, and that's the thing, and that's what bothers me so much with so many of these unconstitutional commie states trying to do this stuff with all these kids, because I remember there was a story some years ago. It was like a girl who was like, there was like a dude's 3 daughters, and it was one that was like 17 or 18, and then there was like a 15 or 16-year-old, and then it was like a 12 or 13-year-old was the youngest one. And it was 2 dudes trying to break into the home when it was just them there alone because the parents were out having dinner or something like that, a date night or something. And it ended up being the 12 or 13-year-old that ran back into the parents' house or back into their bedroom area because she was told where they kept the one handgun, and she grabbed this little revolver out or whatever from the nightstand, went back out there and was like, pop, 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 pop. And yeah, it sent these guys fleeing.
Good on her.
And the other 2 sisters were just sitting there kind of cowering. And it's like, no, it was the youngest one was the smartest one of all of them. And it went full alpha mode on is what it was then.
Those right there, those certain events is just, irrefutable proof why it is necessary for our 2A.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's even more disgusting that it took people over a year now to finally realize that bullshit Safe Communities Act is just a way to fuck over any kind of archery, any kind of hunting courses, anything else like that in the school systems in this country.
Yeah.
Because they're cutting the funding of all these schools that have these programs in them, or they're forcing the schools to get rid of these programs now, which is absolute bullshit, because all you're doing is just like they did over in the UK and every place else like that when they stole the guns from these kids. It wasn't the direct generation that they took them from. It was every generation under that never had the opportunity to actually have their ability to exercise their Second Amendment rights and to actually learn the proper ins and outs of a firearm and to defend themselves against a tyrannical government.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as simple as that. And that being said, that's what we're going to end the days off with. Like I said, it's early Saturday tomorrow night. Hopefully, nothing else. If it doesn't happen, we'll happen like, I don't know, sometime Sunday afternoon, maybe. I don't fucking know anymore. But hopefully tomorrow it'll be like 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever the hell Matt decides to finish off his Geek Chat. Then it'll probably be like directly after that. We'll start up then. So,
okay.
But yeah, other than that, if you have any final words, Corey, go ahead.
I just say take it easy, everybody. Prep, stay safe, keep your family safe, and prep for the shit coming.
And to that I say, be armed, be ready, Always carry with one in the chamber because you're never going to have time to rack it in an actual gunfight, bro. Like, come on, people. Don't be Dust. Do not be Detroit Urban Survival Tactics because you will end up like that motherfucker if you don't. And it's that simple, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good one, y'all. Later.
Later.